Okay, so again, looking at the one in the top left corner, again, look at y. The highest y value is 4, and it goes down forever. That's why you write it like that. Now, if you want to write it in interval notation, the bracket means included. The parenthesis means not included. 4 is included, right? There's not a hole there. So we're going to make sure that there's a bracket around 4. And it's everything less than 4. So that's why you go towards negative infinity. And always put the lower number first, the higher number second. So you want to go in that order from left to right. Again, the brackets for included, it's like less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And the parentheses is like just less than or greater than, without being included. Now, domain is x. So you have to think horizontally. If you think about it, there's no reason why x would be limited, right? You can plug in whatever you want to a parabola and just look at it. It's even though it doesn't really quite show, it is going forever to the left, forever to the right. It's slowly spreading out as it goes down. So it's all real numbers. So if you write inequality notation, you go from negative infinity to infinity. If you write in interval notation, you put parentheses. And by the way, infinity always requires parentheses because we don't know what infinity is. It's some abstract idea, like some number that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We just don't know. It just keeps increasing. All right, let's try a couple more. And then I'm going to have you guys try the next 6 in your table groups, and then we'll move on to the next set. So actually, I don't think we'll alternate these skills. I think we'll just kind of all do them all at the same time. But I'll let you guys work while you guys are doing them. Okay, let's look at this one here. This is absolute value. It's got a sharp corner. Is there a low point? And if so, what is it? 0. And it goes up forever. So I'm going to write it like this. It's going to be, the range is going to be like this. Bracket 0, infinity. Oh, sorry. I meant to do this instead. My apologies. Because it's starting at 0 and going towards infinity, or an interval notation, it could look like this. So questions on that one, about how that goes. Again, starting at 0, it's going up. Okay, it's going up. So it goes from 0 to infinity, 0 included. And if you write inequality notation, you do it like that. Now, will there be any restrictions for the domain? Any reason to restrict the domain, or can it be all real numbers? All real again. You got it. Good work. So you write like this. And in interval notation, Lois, go ahead. So if it's included, if there's a point there, you're gonna put a bracket. If it's equivalent to less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. If it's not included, you put parentheses. Now in this case, infinity, I don't know what infinity is. It's some abstract idea, right? So I put parentheses because it just goes up forever. We don't know exactly what the highest number is for x, or the lowest number for x. But we do know the lowest number for y is 0. The highest number for y, I do not know. Sky's the limit. Goes up forever. Okay, let's do a couple more, and then you guys will do the next page in your groups. All right, so over here. Where's it starting, this graph? Yeah, it seems like it's -6, -3. That's a starting point. So let's do the range again. Is -3 a low point? It is, and so we're going to write like this. Keep doing that just by habit. And just keeps going up forever. It slowly rises. Likewise with the range. Sorry. Likewise with the domain. But the range can be written like this also. So again, same thing. -3 bracket, comma infinity. What about x? Now there is a limit here. We don't have anything we want for x. What's the lowest x value? And it goes up forever. So there we go. -6, x, infinity. Or bracket -6, infinity. Okay. Then one more, and then you guys will do some problems. All right, for this one, that's starting at -4, 0. Okay, let's look at the range. Now, that y value, is that a high point or low point? It's high. So you can put 0. You're going to write like this. You want 0 to be on the far right because that's the highest point. Or you can write like this. Bracket. Okay, so we write like this because y goes down forever, not up forever. Y went up forever for the previous graph. In this case, y is going down forever. It's starting at 0. That's a high point, and it goes down. So when you think of range, you got to think vertically. Now change your perspective, change your mindset. Domain is x. Now you got to think horizontally. -4 is that the lowest or highest x value? Lowest. Yep, it's the lowest. And it'll be like this. And it is included. So you put -4 bracket infinity. So this is all kind of leading in preparation for the next level because we have to eventually get better with interval notation. I do admit that some of the other graphs we've given you in the past were kind of funky to say domain range. Or if I gave you a domain and range and you had to make a graph, that was kind of hard to do. I think now we're just focusing on the more typical graphs, the parent graphs like square root, parabolas, absolute value, cube root, cubic functions, reciprocal functions. We're kind of, now doing more typical stuff. So you'll see some more patterns, whereas it seemed kind of a free for all for the previous stuff. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Again, the lowest x value is -4, and it's going forever to the right. So x has to be bigger than or equal to -4. Okay. So now we have you guys do is do the next page in your table groups. Okay. Some of these do look a little funky. So I kind of wasn't fully honest. That's okay. I think you guys can handle it. We'll do 3 at a time. How about that? So I'll freeze this. I'll write the answers. I'll walk around, make sure you guys are getting it, and then we'll move on to the next 3, and then we'll move on to the next skill. Okay. So guys, work on this page right now, and I'll come around and help you guys out. Give me a moment. I'll get to the question in 2 minutes. Yeah, do the next page, guys. I'll come around and help you guys out. I'm trying out the answers. There's a question?
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
For the first,
Mhm.
one that's left of the screen,
Yes.
does it ever touch?
Nope, it does not. Yeah, guys, there are horizontal asymptotes for the first 2. All right. Now I can think I got my answers. All right. What's the question last time?
No, I was gonna ask the same question again. And so will it not touch?
Yeah, so what's gonna happen here? It doesn't touch 2, it gets really close to it. So it's that, and same thing here. It gets really close to -2.
What about on the Y axis?
Well, that's what I meant. It gets really close to 2 for y here. And -2 here.
What about when like X equals
Well, X could be whatever for both.
2. Okay,
It's going forward, left, versus the right. X could be whatever.
There's no vertical after.
There are no vertical asymptotes for those. None. We go forever. That's up. Parentheses is not equal. Bracket is equal. So you're not going to equal negative base. You're going to put parentheses around negative base. But you can put a bracket around 10, or in that case 7 for X.
Yeah.
Negative 10 for Y. Okay, you guys have questions? Or yeah, we were good. Question, yeah.
maybe.
I know. I would draw it as so I would do a better graph. This is like not the best graph. So the range actually would be the highest is going to be 2. I would have to point out to you. Tell you that. It has to be more obvious. Yeah, because you're thinking like because it keeps rising. Right, exactly. So I'd have to draw an asymptote. Yeah, that's not terribly obvious. Yeah, guys are asked horizontal asymptotes were your first 2 graphs on the top left and middle. Top middle.
So I still like don't know.
You don't have to- this is what I would say.
You know what I do? I like put my carve page.
Just
drawn 8.
rotate for 90 degrees.
That's what I do.
Yeah, there you go.
But it takes so much time.
That's up. But yeah, those, yeah. Let's make sure that you guys are rolling here. Oh, so you guys see it all real? Except 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the way we're gonna write it, like a little thick.
Yeah, why don't you wait till we get there? Yeah, let's wait till we get there. Okay, let me show you the answers for these 3. I'll still wait a couple more minutes. For some people to get caught up. But domain's gonna be all real for the first 2. In case you're curious, these are both exponential. And we call this a polynomial, which will be actually, I think, our next units or sometime in the spring. So it's gonna be all real for your domain for the first 2. So you're gonna write negative infinity, it goes to parentheses. For the polynomial, the one on the far right, negative 8's not included, but 7 is included. So you're gonna put negative 8 is less than X, which is less than or equal to 7, or parentheses bracket. The range is not terribly obvious because is there an asymptote? I'm telling you there is, but the graph doesn't show it necessarily. So the upper limit's 2 for the left one. The lower limit for the middle one is negative 2. So you want to make sure you don't go past 2 for the left one. So negative infinity less than Y less than 2, or put parentheses around 2, because 2 is not included, gets close to it, but it's a ceiling. Now for the second one, it's like a basement. It's like a floor. It gets really close to negative 2, but not exactly. So you put a parentheses around negative 2, or negative 2 is less than Y, which is less than infinity. Now for the third one, the range is from negative 10 to 0. Negative 10 is included, so there's a dot here, but 0 is not included because it has an open circle. So negative 10 less than or equal to Y less than 0, or negative 10 bracket, comma 0, and you have that. What question, Lincoln?
I don't know. I didn't notice that like you're doing brackets as well as brackets.
Yeah, that's for interval notation. That's for the second part. That's for the other way of writing it.
Oh, I see.
We're okay? All right. Can I move the screen? Let's move the screen. All right, next up. Now these are a little funky. Let me do the far left. I'll have you guys try the other 2. Now, clearly X can't equal 2 here, and Y can't equal negative 2. So it's kind of hard how you're going to write an inequality notation, but I would say if you do this, X is less than 2, or X is greater than 2. Because that shows that you're not including 2. The range, you would say Y is less than negative 2, or Y is greater than 2. Because again, it shows you're not, sorry, negative 2, because it shows you're not including negative 2. But personally, I think it's going to be easier to write it in interval notation. Interval notation would look like this. parentheses, negative infinity, 2, parentheses, and you put a giant U here, which stands for union, because you're uniting both sets. And that represents or. Not sure if maybe you guys did that in geometry, like logic. No, okay. It means or. It means or. It's the same. It's just like using the word or in logic. So the number's in either one. Like using the word or.
There ever been situations where you use a bracket on a union?
Sure, that could happen. If I make up that's what we get into something called piecewise functions. We're not there yet, but yeah, there'll be times we'd have to do that. Sure, that could happen. That should be there's no 6 here. There should be all 2s or negative 2s. Yeah, maybe from where you're seeing it might look like a 6. Yeah, it's all 2s and negative 2s. Okay, go and try the other 2. All right, I'll freeze the screen. I'll come around, help you guys out. Hopefully the second one's pretty straightforward.
So slightly.
All right. I guess my score prediction pretty good. Pretty good. Up by 2 points. Yeah. Never mind. And kind of stand out, so I'll take. Do lose a few more games. Questions so far? No.
When do we get our calculator?
I need to record them all when we finish this up off.
Do we get to see our test?
I can't give them back yet because still I think a couple more people haven't taken it. They'll take it tomorrow. So
It should be penalized.
month? No, it was last week.
Time's gonna be different for me.
Okay. Yeah, it was Wednesday last week. We did a lot, so it might feel like a month because we did a project also. Yeah, no, there's some people are out sick, so yeah. All right, here we go. You should get all real for the second one. Okay, all real. Because going up and down forever and it's going forever to the left and right. That's just that's a weird polynomial function. It's actually a cubic function, but it's a weird one. And then for the third one, 3 has to be excluded for both x and y. So you gotta make sure 3 is excluded. So you do parentheses around 3, or you could do an inequality notation. It's up to you. And it's or. Okay, that should settle inequalities. Sorry, domain range. Hopefully we're settled on that. Okay, so you got enough practice there. Homework packets, which I'll hand out in a little bit.
You know if there's an asymptote or not.
What was that?
Know if there's an asymptote.
I would tell you. I'll draw it like, or maybe I'll just state it like there's asymptotes. Maybe I'll just state that. Yeah. And by the way, homework I just realized is just finish off these notes. So if we get these notes all finished, you have no homework, which is kind of nice. But if you haven't done the other homework over the weekend, you got to do that still. Okay. Good for you. All right. Okay. Okay. This one's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna do a couple, and we'll see how far you guys. I highly doubt you'll be able to get to all these because you have to talk about some other factoring stuff later on. But okay, these are a little intense. And I'm gonna use the CPM process because actually I like it a lot. It's one of the few things CPM I actually do really appreciate. So I'm gonna go about this way. I'm gonna do a diamond.
Oh, I love these.
I did too. A times C and B. Once you get the hang of it, you move pretty fast. It is.
It's very good for middle school.
Oh yeah.
It's great in my brain.
Yeah. Okay. So generally speaking, quadratic function is set up this way. A is a coefficient of x squared, B is coefficient of x, and C is the constant. Or if you're using like P or N or whatever, fine. But A, B, and C don't change. A, B, and C are the coefficients. So you first do A times C. What's A times C for number one? -15. Yeah, I'll just put, I know you guys do this. -15p squared. That I just put a -15. It's fine. You can put the p squared if you want. I don't care. No, I don't care. What's the middle coefficient? So your job is to find two numbers that multiply to AC and add to B. So what? So yeah, so go ahead, Alexander, what do you say again? -5, 3, perfect. Okay, but you're not out of the woods yet. Because if you write this, don't write this down. This is bad. If you write this, that's not going to be true. Because if I were to FOIL that, I don't get back to the original expression. So you can't do that. What you do instead, you can do a couple things. There's something called factor by grouping. There's trial and error. CPM encourages this, where you put 3p squared in the top left, -5 in the lower right, and you put -5p and 3p in the other corners. Whichever corners they belong to don't really matter. But what you've done, this process, just so you know, has a name to it. It's called splitting the middle term. So there's a rhyme and reason to this. What you've done is you've taken -2p and you split it into what? -5p and 3p. And why is it split that way? Because it's going to guarantee that we multiply 3p squared and -5 when we have our final answer. Now, what you do is you locate what is common in the first row. What do they share in the first row? 3p, 100%. So you put 3p. So then this has to be p, because p times 3p gets me 3p squared. The one I'm going to put on the lower left side. Yeah, because -5 times p is -5p. And what I'm going to put on the upper right. Is there anything common in the last column? 3p and -5? Nothing's common, right? And by the way, 3p times 1 equals 3p. -5 times 1 equals -5. So the final answer is 3p minus 5 and p plus 1. Now, why do we care about this? There are some people who argue that factoring is actually useless, and I would agree somewhat, depending on what you want to do in life. But my role is to get you ready for the next level. And when you do move on to calculus, you do need to have this in your toolkit to be able to do some problems more simply or more efficiently. Factoring is a skill set. Like if I taught calculus, I say, guys, we're going to start factoring, and students can't factor. That's a problem, right? Because then we can't do the more advanced stuff. So it's just something in your toolkit that we have to have really refined and in good shape. Does that make sense how I did that? And if you want to multiply it out, you should get back to what you have originally, right? You will get back to what you had originally if you were multiplied out. It would come out to 3p squared minus 2p minus 5. Okay, let's try one more. Let's try number 2. I know I didn't leave myself much room here. And then I'm gonna have you guys do a whole bunch in about a few minutes, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, what's my A times C here? What's my B? Okay, how do I split it? Well, multiplies -18 adds up to 3. Right. And by the way, if you ever get stuck, always start with 1 in itself and slowly increase one number and slowly decrease the other number. Ultimately, they should meet somewhere in the middle. If you exhausted all options, then it's not factorable. I won't do that to you guys. That's kind of cruel, but sometimes it might happen. By the way, on the SAT or ACT, if you're asked this question on the SAT, just use Desmos, guys. Seriously, and find the x-intercepts. Or if on the ACT, just use your graphic calculator and graph it. If they ask for like the x-intercepts of that, like don't even waste your time doing all this work. But for here, we do have to do it. Okay, 2n squared, -9. And you split in the middle term, so 6n and -3n. Okay, I didn't leave myself much space here. What can I pull out the first row? Just n, right? So this has to be 2n. Therefore, this has to be 3. And therefore, this has to be -3. So there you go. n plus 3. I cannot do 3's for life from here. And 2n minus 3. That's a little hard to read, sorry. Let me move that over. There we go. N plus 3, 2n minus 3. Okay, go and try for the next maybe, we'll say 6, 7 minutes. Just do as much as you can. I'll do 3, 4, 5, 6 at least. I'll show you guys in a moment. Okay. If you want to do trial and error and you know it, more power to you. If you can see how to do it by trial and error, I'm not gonna hold that against you guys. But here's the thing: I won't be very kind of partial credit if I can't see where you made a mistake. So my suggestion is you actually try to show some work. So I see if if you split it like differently, then I say, okay, well, I see your mistake, and I can be a little more kind with partial credit. So just be mindful about that. Oh, I thought froze my screen. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll freeze it right now. No, I was going to show you this at least. All right. So at the very least, you should have this. So remember, multiplying to the top, adding to the bottom. Multiplying to the top, adding to the bottom. A times C up top, B down below. If you reverse it, that's fine. I don't care. But just make sure you're multiplying, adding to the correct stuff. Okay, it should look like that now. 4, 12, 5, and 2. It's solving, but it's more of the same stuff. Yeah, just you take one extra step and you solve. Yeah, if you're ready, just you can do it. Yeah.
It could be like, in parentheses. Yeah.
So again, this is total drill and kill. I have all the answers displayed now, but just keep working. Don't rush. Keep working. Actually, I'll wind up freezing this and working on the next set. The next set you have to get 0 on the other side if you do get a chance to it. Some of these are bonkers. Hold on, LA. Oh boy. Second P. Oh, geez. Positive 6.
And then,
It's like this is like right now.
what are they at?
Oh, geez. 5, 6.
So dumb.
17. There we go. All right. Thanks for being patient, LA. Yeah, where you at? Yeah, actually, yeah, we don't need to do that. You can just factor a K and be done. No, you don't need to, but if we were to put net 7Ks, okay, actually, so it's 0, so it's actually should be 0K squared. It should be -6, so it's be -3. Yeah, exactly. Nope. Okay, questions on 3, 4, 5, 6. No question on 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys are cool. All right. Here are the next ones. I kind of got started. Very important. You have to get zero on the other side. It's called the zero product property because anytime zero is zero. So you deliberately want to get zero on the right side and factor afterwards. So once you have your factors, either one of the two factors is going to equal zero and you're going to be okay. Notice I made a careless mistake for number 16. I actually put -6, should be +6, obviously. So, and I do the diamond, which is split in the middle term. Hope that makes sense. Now for 17, you don't have to waste your time with the diamond. Whenever you have two terms, just pull out common factors and you're good. K times 7k minus 6, you get two answers. So you don't need to do, if you want to do the diamond, go ahead, but then you put 0 up top and you split as -3 and 3, but it's not necessary. It's just easier just to pull out the common factor and factor it, or set it equals 0 and solve for the variable. Once you have the middle term split, you can do your box. Actually, I'll do it live. And it's just one extra step you have to solve afterwards. 3r squared, -12. I know, terribly exciting stuff. 6b squared, 6. I know, it's very mechanical stuff. One thing you guys will like, this unit has no word problems. No word problems. Graphing, just so you know, our next test, graphing actually be graphing review from the previous test. So this unit has no new graphing stuff. We'll just review old graphing stuff from the previous unit. But this is an incredibly mechanical unit, just so you know. And I factor along each row and each column. Three B, 2B, you have 2, you have 3, 7K, 5K, you have 1, you have 3. So yeah, it's just 3r plus 2 or r minus 6 equals 0. So r is going to equal 6, or r is going to equal -2/3 when you solve it. Here, 2b minus 3 or 3b minus 2 equals 0. So I ran out of space, but does that show up okay? Yeah, b equals, let's do black. B equals 3/2, or b equals 2/3. And then lastly, 5k minus 1, 7k minus 3. K equals 1/5, or k equals 3/7. Okay, it's a lot of work there. Let's not worry about the last two. Honestly, I'll give you guys credit for this homework because we're all doing it together, so don't worry about it. We'll just get this done. Questions on these four? And you guys get the point. We'll ignore the last two. We'll take a screenshot of that too. That's kind of nice. Right. All right. Let's wrap this up. We got about 15 more minutes. Okay. Difference of two squares. I don't really use this whole UV thing. I mean, yes, you should pay attention to what's happening here. That's being split two ways, U plus V, U minus V. You can use A, B, X, Y. I don't really care. The bottom line is that you have two perfect squares. Being subtracted. That's the bottom line. So all you do straight up is just square root them and write like this. Minus, plus, minus, plus. That's it. That's all you're doing. So what's the square of y4? What two identical terms multiply to y4? Y2. Because y squared is y4. That's why I was so bent on exponents, guys. We had to make sure we're cool with that. Because you gotta know y squared times y squared is y4. And what's square of 1? 1 and 1. Boom, done. That's it. 81p squared, square of 81p squared. 9p, 9p. What's square of 16? 4 and 4. Done. Because what's going to happen if I FOIL these two, you're going to get back to the middle. Now, I'm not quite done with number 1. That's not the full answer. Because if I were to say factor completely, it's not quite complete yet. You got to break down that y squared minus 1 is this. So you got to break that down a little further because that's still a difference of 2 squares. So difference of 2 squares simply means that a difference of 2 squares. You got a minus in the middle, you got 2 perfect squares. And you factoring. If you FOIL, it comes back to that original thing. So let me freeze for a moment. So go and try. Let's do number 3 together, actually. Okay. I'm going to set up number 3. How do I split it? How do I split the first one, guys? 3 xy squared. 3xy squared. How about the last one? 5 z 3 and z 3. That's all. It's weird, but that's what it is. 3x squared y minus 5z cubed. And all this will get reinforced. By the way, don't feel like, okay, well, I still need more work with this. Don't worry. Trust me, this gets reinforced in all the future topics in this unit. Because we'll be dealing with like fractions, all these things and crossing stuff out. And so this gets heavily reinforced. Think you had a question? Okay, all right. All right. For the next set, just remember if you have u plus v squared, that's u plus v times u plus v, which actually becomes this u squared plus 2uv plus v squared. Where here, u squared minus 2uv plus v squared. Okay. So this can be rewritten like this: a plus b times a plus b, or a plus b squared. So go and try b and c on your own. Kind of following the same pattern. It'll probably be set up like this, like something minus something squared, or something plus something squared. What are you going to put in that first one? X and yes, good. So one might wonder, well, how about the negative 6x? It will take care of itself. If you did x minus 2 times x minus 3, you'll get back to negative 6x. It all is taken care of if you're to FOIL. How about for the second group? What would you, or sorry, part C, what would you do for that one? Three x and 5y. Yes. Okay, D is kind of a funny one. Um, it's a little weird, but think of 8 plus 7 as the first term and 5 as the second term. 8 plus 7 plus 5 is the same. Oh, sorry, it's minus. Oops. My apologies. Should be a minus in the middle because there's a minus there. That's kind of a funny one. We'll spend more time talking about something like that. Yeah, my bad. That should be a minus in the middle. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully questions on that one. So again, square root. Here's the bottom line. Square root the first and last terms and write as something minus something squared or something plus something squared. If there's a minus in the middle, to put a minus, plus, and put a plus. But very important that you have to guarantee that those things you square root, when you multiply together and double them up, you get back to the middle. Like notice that these two multiplied together is 15, double up, you get 30. These two together is negative 5, 8 plus 7, double up, you get negative 10. These two multiplied together is negative 3x, double up, you get negative 6x. This is AB, AB, you get 2AB. All right, home stretch, guys. You guys are doing great. Okay. Last part. This will tie it all together. Okay. So ways to solve a quadratic equation. All right. How many different ways can we do this? You could use quad form. You could complete the square. Thanks, Maura. Appreciate it. Yes, I was writing it down. Got to move the screen. You could factor, or you could square root both sides. Actually, I think that was the intention of those four things. I don't know. We'll find out if I missed something. But usually these are your four tools. I mean, you can also graph too if you wanted to. I don't know. But you're not going to do anything else for the most part. Quad form is a guarantee, but it's kind of painstaking because you're kind of plugging over and over again. You can make mistakes with all the mental math. With square we talked about, and I think you guys are still kind of get your bearings straight. But you guys did for the most part pretty well in the last test. We're gonna have to revisit that. It does come back with a vengeance later on. Some other stuff we do. So we're it's more complex. Factoring we just talked about, but it's not always possible. Squaring both sides actually is probably the easiest technique, but it's not always possible. It depends on the setup. So look at the first one here. Of those four options, which of those four options do you think I should use for number one? Square root, exactly, 100%. So square root. So what would x equal? Or, yeah, you got to put both because it holds two values. From a graphical perspective, y equals x squared is this. Y equals 25 is a horizontal line, and they touch twice. So you have to provide both answers because it has to agree graphically with what's going on. When you square it in general, you always give a positive answer as a positive outcome or output, but for solving, I put both. I'm gonna do the same thing for 2 and 3. Nah, this why? This is a waste of time. Let's give you the best way possible. Why? Yes, you can. It's good to know the ways, but the other ways would be expanding and quad form or factoring. In the interest of time, and also, you guys have another class after this. I feel bad for you guys, and perhaps sports and other stuff later in life. So, I know it's been a long day. So let's just be efficient here. X minus 3 equals plus minus 4. x equals 3 plus 4 or 3 minus 4, which is going to be 7 or -1. Or here, x plus 3 equals plus minus 8. So x equals 3 plus 8. Ah, you're right, yes. Thank you. So you get 5 or -11. So just look for those things. I know sometimes you guys will get caught up in like, oh, I got to expand it, or I got to do this or that. It's like, no, just make it efficient, right? Take what you're given. It's kind of like in baseball, right? Like, okay, like I'm not sure anyone watching the World Series. I kind of am casually following it. Like Aaron Judge is playing terrible, but anyway. But in baseball in general, well, you sometimes you might get a curveball, sometimes you might get a fastball, sometimes you might get a breaking ball, sometimes you might get a splitter, whatever. Whatever is being thrown your way, you have to act accordingly, right? So yeah, like, if you're a baseball player, you gotta, like, make sure you anticipate what's coming your way and do the right thing. The right thing here is to, square root. The other ones we might be factoring other stuff. We can finish this off on Wednesday, so we'll stop there for today. So yeah, no homework. Don't worry about it. I'll give you guys. It'll be homework number 20 in the Schoology, but I'll just give you guys full credit for it. Just do the other ones if you haven't. And this is a homework tab, just so you guys have it. Oh, hold a minute. Right. I may record it still. I can show it to you. Want to see it? I'm gonna put them the next period. Yeah, for most part, guys.
Charlotte, are you talking about the calculator rates?
Basically, what you've done is you've satisfied your part of your graduation for computer science at the school. That's really what the intent of it.
All right, Jen.
Yeah. I could show it to you really fast.
I was on the real one. My whole bunch. Thank you.